This audio presentation of Dry Those Tears by Robert A. Russell is brought to you by audioenlightenment.com. Copyright 2015. All rights reserved. Verse: If you would indeed behold the spirit of death, open your heart wide unto the body of life. For life and death are one, even as the river and the sea are one. Kahil Gibran. Chapter 1. A Letter. Dear friend, losing a dear one by death is one of the most difficult experiences you will ever be called upon to go through. When death takes from you someone whom you love dearly, your life immediately seems empty and forlorn. Your heart is broken, and you can see nothing more to live for. You reach for a hand that has vanished, and you listen for a voice that is still. It is natural to grieve at such a time, but it is unnatural to capitulate to grief. The difference between controlled and uncontrolled grief depends largely upon the degree of one's religious faith. I have seen all kinds of people in all kinds of sorrow over the long period of years. Some are comforted and transfigured in their grief, and others are torn to pieces by it. Why? Because some have a faith and understanding equal to their need, and others do not. Some have access to the divine presence, and others shut themselves out. Of course, I will sympathize with you in your sorrow, but I want to do something more than be sympathetic. I want to bring you comfort, healing, and peace. Others have found consolation and release in times like this, and this comfort is available to you too. It is just a matter of facing the fact about your loss and of seeing things as they are. So what are the facts? 1. Your loved one has made his change, so you must face your loss. 2. Death is inevitable, so you must accept it. 3. Death is only an appearance, so you must get behind it. What do we mean by facing your loss? James Gilkey records two contrasting stories that well illustrate this point. Recently, an American mother received word from the War Department that her only son had been killed. Subsequently, the fact of his death was confirmed and all possibility of a mistaken identification was eliminated. Yet the boy's mother stubbornly refused to face the fact that her boy was dead. She continued to center all her conversations on him and his return. She repapered and refurnished her entire house, explaining that her son had never liked the dwelling, and now it must please him. Then she began collecting clippings and cartoons which she thought would interest him, pasting them in scrapbooks and stacking the scrapbooks in his room. They would be waiting there when he returned. What was the meaning of these strange actions? The boy's mother was refusing to face her loss. She was denying her grief in normal activity. She was trying to escape suffering by pretending that the occasion for pain did not exist. Analyze her attitude, and you will see that she was not meeting her problem but complicating it. She was living in a make-believe world. Her denial of her grief was like confining steam in a boiler with no valve. In other words, she was delaying her grief, and by the delay she was multiplying it. In contrast to the story of the mother who refused to face her loss is the story of Mrs. Jacob Walker, who for years kept the lighthouse on Robin's Reef between New York Harbor and Manhattan Island. Here is a story as she told it. I was a young girl living at Sandy Hook, New Jersey, when I first met my husband. He was the keeper of the Sandy Hook Light, and took me there as his bride. I was happy there, for the lighthouse was on land, and I could have a garden and raise flowers. Then one day we were transferred here to Robin's Reef. As soon as we arrived, I said to my husband, I can't stay here. The sight of water wherever I look makes me too lonesome. I won't unpack. But somehow all the trunks and boxes got unpacked. 4 years later, my husband caught a heavy cold while tending the light. The cold turned into pneumonia, and they took him to the infirmary on Staten Island, where he could have better care than I could give him here. I stayed behind to tend the light in his place. A few nights later, I saw a rowboat coming through the darkness. Something told me that the message it was bringing. Even before the man in the boat spoke, I knew what he would say. We're sorry, but your husband's worse. You mean he's dead? I answered, and there was no reply. We buried my husband on Staten Island. Every morning when the sun comes up, I stand at that porthole and look in the direction of his grave. Sometimes the hill is green, sometimes it is brown, sometimes it is white with snow. But it always brings a message from him, something I heard him say more often than anything else. Just 3 words: mind the light. After you have faced the fact of your loss, accept it. That is, resign yourself to it. Since death is one of life's inevitables, there is nothing we can do to change it. It must be accepted with courage, faith, and understanding. How can you do that? By deliberately picking up your life and going on. The third thing you must do is to get behind your loss. See your departed love as he is in his new life. Up till now you have been thinking of him as dead. You have been concerned about his present condition. You have been wondering where he is and if he is all right. Now you must establish a new relationship to him by getting behind the appearance of death. This new relationship will come in the silence. Jesus said, I go to prepare a place for you. That's where I am. There ye may be also. Where is this place? It is within you and within every individual. It is a holy place prepared by Christ in consciousness. Stillness fills this place. The peace of God is in it. Your loved one is in it. When you enter it, the world outside you, your griefs, your fears drop away, and you rise at last with a new comfort, vision, and understanding. This place is not in a church or in a sequestered spot surrounded by high walls and guarded by locked doors. It is within you and all about you whenever you silence the material senses and go alone with God. Clifford Harrison speaks for one who has gone on. I am in your thought, oh, seek for me there. I move in your memories, breathe in your prayer. I am yours as I never was yours before. You are mine as you never were mine of yore. Right now, I want you to sit down in some quiet place and let me speak to you from the pages of this book. Assume a comfortable position, close your eyes, and relax yourself into God. Say quietly to yourself, underneath are the everlasting arms. Then relax your body, still your feeling and your thought. Feel the presence of God freeing you from every shackle of grief, sorrow, and fear. Get the peace of God into every atom of your being. Become so still that the God within you is one with the God above you. Let your relaxation be so complete that each cell of your body becomes conscious of its source. The Lord is in his temple, you. Let all the earth, your body, every nerve, every cell, every muscle, keep silent before him. Lean back upon God and rest relaxed within a pervading sense of divine life, power, and peace. Whenever you feel any tension of grief, relax your mind and let go. Meet with intrusion of suggestion of your loss with Whittier's line, life is ever Lord of death, and love can never lose its own. Hold yourself in this relaxed state of mind until you feel a sense of God's presence enveloping all of the earth, yourself, your family, your friends, everyone with everlasting peace and understanding. If you are disturbed at any moment during this period by your grief or your problem, repeat the words, underneath are the everlasting arms. Then relax once more gently into God. Keep doing this until you no longer think about nor feel your loss. Fix your attention upon the truth of St. Paul's words. In him we live and move and have our being. This statement means that there is but one mind, and that we are all in it. You are in it, and your loved one is in it. It is our means of communication, both in the physical body and out of it. This one mind is everywhere equally present. It is wherever we are. Your mind and your loved one's mind are just part of the one mind, and they are as close to each other at this moment as they ever were. Since there is only one mind and we are all in it, nothing can ever sever our communication. As we reflect that our Christ self, real self, is in God's mind now, and that the Christ, our spiritual being, of our loved one is also in that mind, we shall have an unmistakable sense of communication. It will come either as a detailed message, or as more often than not, as a deep impression that we have been with him, and he has been with us. This is not a spiritualism, but the truth of being, which is in accord with Jesus' statement to his disciples, I go away and come again unto you. God is spirit, and ye are spirit. Spiritual things are spiritually discerned. Your loved ones are as much with you as your consciousness. But if you believe them to be dead, then they are dead within yourself, and communication with them is impossible. I hope you will read on. I have gathered together in these pages the best thinking that I have found in literature on the subject of death, and have recorded the conclusions I have come to after long thought and long service to others, to the end that your heart will be comforted, your thought stimulated, your faith revived, and that experiencing the nearness of death will leave you a better, finer, more understanding person. Sincerely yours, Robert A. Russell.